Back at Jeffrey Field, Penn State University. Badgers trying to pull off the road upset and knock off the number 12 team in the nation, and so far they've been amongst the class of the conference, the Nittany Lions. Let's meet the Badgers from Wisconsin, led by head coach John Trask. 4-4-2 formation.
4 freshmen in the Wisconsin side, led by number 7, Drew Connor. He's the catalyst behind this Wisconsin Badgers team. Drew Connor now a junior, and up top, keep an eye on the freshman sensation players that are Tommy Barlow alongside Mark Segbers.
Fifth-year boss, St. Louis native, now a Madison, Wisconsin native, John Trask. He's had 12 new freshmen join his team. Every game they've been involved in the conference, but they are still looking for their first win on the season. And he'll be facing a class team in the Nittany Lions, led by Bob Warming. 3-5-2 formation for Penn State.
Yeah, and led by goalkeeper Andrew Wolverton, who set the Penn State all-time shutout record recently this season. 3 at the back. Look for Savino to protect that back 3, and plenty of pace on the flanks with Connor Maloney and Drew Klingenberg.
In charge of the Nittany Lions, 5th year, former Big Ten Coach of the Year in 2012 and 2013, Bob Warming. Warming a winning percentage of close to 64%, and he says to his team, yeah, we've dropped 3 straight, but all the goals that we set prior to the season are still available. Win the Big Ten regular season, win the Big Ten tournament, and oh yeah, claim a national championship, as Bob Warming hoping to pull that off in University Park, Pennsylvania this season. And you talk about weather, we've seen some fabulous weather recently in Big Ten country, and that trend continues this afternoon. Fall in Pennsylvania with conditions like this. Let's play some soccer.
Pitch in fantastic condition. Little bit of a chill in the air, 55 degrees, but really perfect conditions for the players.
That Penn State back line, Bob Warming talking about, he's got a lot of thinkers back there, and you know you have to have high soccer IQ to change positions on the fly at this high level.
I've been so impressed, and I think everybody looking at Penn State this season has been so impressed with Bob Warming's ability to turn around this team. To go from a 4-4-2 to a 3-5-2 is not easy, especially when you've got players that have had to convert from different positions. Mikey Robinson, Mason Clerks coming from midfield. The big one and the most interesting one for me is Eli Dennis, who was a target forward last year. He was second on the team in goals last season for Penn State, and now he's playing at the heart of their defense.
And you see the challenges for John Trask, the head man for Wisconsin, because there is a giant difference between the experience for Penn State and the youth coming out of Madison, Wisconsin.
This was never going to be an easy year for John Trask and his young Badgers. Just look at it. I mean, 4 freshmen in the starting lineup today, just 1 senior in David Kuban, missing a total of 15 players from last season and bringing in 12 new freshmen. It was always going to be somewhat of a year in transition, but with the win there midweek, I think the Badgers will have lots of confidence going into this one and heading toward the Big Ten tournament.
So Penn State, though, they should be an angry side this afternoon, as they got off to their best start in school history, unbeaten in their first 11 with 10 wins, but now they've lost 3 straight on the trot. And hopefully this is a perfect opportunity against this young, vulnerable Wisconsin side to get a victory.
I think you're spot on, Dan, and I think they will be a little bit angry. This Penn State side shut out for the consecutive games for the first time in over 2 years when they lost to Maryland and Michigan State. They've got a point to prove. They do not want to slip up here today against the bottom-ranked team in the conference, the Wisconsin Badgers, especially, given that Ohio State, who's had an incredible year under John Bloom, and also Michigan State have really closed down that ground at top of the Big Ten Conference.
There was a loss also against West Virginia, an ugly physical match, 18 combined fouls, 4 handballs. Bob Warming saying that they just let up for about 10 minutes despite scoring first. They got burned for 2 goals. The kids were a little down, the Nittany Lions, after, because they had visions of running the table this season, but as Coach alluded to, still the chance to achieve their goals is Minotillo and Penn State. The blue and white, and they control.
Well, when you look at the Penn State team, you've got Connor Maloney playing as a left, you could call it a fullback or a left winger. He's going to be up and down the pitch. He's got the athleticism to do so. But a lot is going to rely on Mikey Minotillo up front for Penn State. 5 goals this season, 4 assists. Takes an awful lot of shots. He leads the team with 46 shots this season. Had half of them on target. He needs to be a big-time player now down the stretch if Maloney is to continue on that left-hand side.
The average is just under 3.5 shots a game. Cool little turn by Mason Clerks in the midfield for Penn State. As Robinson leads the pack forward. Challenged offensively, Wisconsin, just 5 goals scored in their last 8 games. And we spoke about the freshmen, how dominant they've been for Wisconsin. They've scored 7 of the 9 goals. Is here in a defensive stance. Penn State looking for their first look. Minitillo. Back to goal, finding James for a little stroll forward. First touch for Radonjic will play it away.
Just an early concern there for Wisconsin. A very straightforward ball played through. And David Kuban, who looks like he's gone inside to play as a central defender, just completely allowed, I think it was Mark Wadid, take the ball down on his chest without any kind of a challenge or putting him under pressure. Playing away from home, you cannot afford to give that amount of respect nice and early to a Penn State side that will come at Wisconsin and try and get that opening goal early.
Launched in by Carl Schneider. He scored the game-winning goal versus UW-Madison Thursday night, but now it's Penn State, and Connor Maloney, their leading goal scorer. Missing the connection out wide. Looking to probe into the penalty area. It's Maloney. Spreads it around. Savino trying to make the run. Will be a goal kick away for Wisconsin. So that's been the goal for Penn State. Connor Maloney, number 5, their leading goal scorer. He leads the conference in goals with 9 points in 20, and Coach Warming saying they just have to get him the ball more because he should have more goals. He can beat people off the dribble and not your typical forward. He'll work just as hard in his defensive half.
Well, Bob Warming has had to rejig things earlier in the year, but also now missing senior Owen Griffith.
Here's Maloney. Able to save that and almost create. So we look at that long service to Maloney once again.
Nice idea. Just picks the head up through Klingenberg. Nice ball over the top for very pacey Connor Maloney.
Savino off the throw. So possession controlled by Penn State in the early moments. You can see the wind blowing hard at the backs of the Nittany Lions here to open up the half on their home field of Jeffrey Field.
What does that tell you, Dan? It tells you that Wisconsin will do very well to try and, you could see nice and early that Segbers and Barlow have no interest in pressurizing the back 3 higher up the field. They're going to sit off, and as soon as Penn State starts to penetrate through the middle, that's when Wisconsin will try and dispossess them. But it's going to be a very difficult half against the elements, against that strong breeze for Wisconsin to take a lead. They want to go in maybe 0-0 at the break, just hold Penn State and then have that huge advantage with the breeze in the second half.
It's Connor Maloney dragging some defenders out wide with them. Klingenberg. The pressure from Wisconsin, 2-on-1. Leads to a turnover, but making the clever little turn there. Segbers finds his childhood friend from St. Louis, Tommy Barlow, number 11. Segbers is 17 for Wisconsin. Barlow is the front runner. Big physical presence for Wisconsin. Here to close things down, a guy you're very high on, number 4, Eli Dennis. And we speak of that St. Louis connection. John Trask knows it well, just talks about it. There is a lot of high expectations from a young age when you're a quality soccer player from a place he calls Soccer City, USA.
Yeah, we know what John Trask has done, a superb manager in the game. Major League Soccer, obviously, you know, he's been assistant coach at a few teams there, and then at Indiana also.
Just popping it wide, rising up there was Radonjic.
But the big player on that list that's missing, Nick Jones, could have been a very big player for Wisconsin this season. He's out injured. He's someone who you mentioned big physical presence when talking about Tommy Barlow. I think Jones has that in abundance. He's able to hold the ball up. He's a good soccer player. It's been unfortunate for John Trask not to have him, given the year that's in it. 15 players from last season gone. You certainly want to try and keep a healthy squad.
High expectations for those lads from the Show Me State to live up to, with the Pat Noonans, the Chris Kleins, the Will Bruins, Taylor Twellman.
Steve Ralston.
Yeah, the list goes on. So here probing forward Klingenberg. He's been a presence down this right side, able to sneak it in, and just brushed wide. First decent look on frame there for Mikey Minotillo.
And this is an interesting one. Minotillo not too happy at all, and I think he has a reason to look at the referee. And just watch as the ball comes in. The defender has no eye on the ball here. He takes his eye off the ball completely. And I think both players were at it, in fairness. It would have been a very harsh decision to give a penalty kick here. It looked like Minotillo's right arm was wrapped. I think it was Carl Schneider, and both players were at it.
It's Minotillo. Just happy to be back on the field for Penn State. Missed all of last year with injury. Wonderful to have you with us. The backside of a doubleheader this afternoon. On BTN, we saw Indiana take down Michigan in game number 1. With Kevin Egan, I'm Dan Kelly. Great conditions this afternoon from University Park, Pennsylvania. This is Penn State controlling. It's Dennis, number 4 for the Nittany Lions, the former forward, now on the back line. Brian Hale keeping things safe for Wisconsin from their perspective. James looking for a stroll forward. Softened by Gonzalez. Quick movement by Dennis. Little room to roam down that left side for Robinson. But instead square to McDonald. Maybe one too many passes in the midfield, and just the safe clearance by Wisconsin. Segbers going forward there for the Badgers. A lot of off-ball movement here for Penn State. Led there by Minotillo.
It's where Wisconsin want them. Here is where you have to start working really, really hard to dispossess.
Minotillo takes it end line. There on Caban, looking for the bike, and now the second ball for Minotillo, picking up the scraps. Can't get the shot through. First corner of this match will go to the home team as we look at this through ball.
Excellent vision from Mason Clerks.
Corner kick,
sets Minotillo away. A little bit of trickery from the big man. Gets a good ball in. And he was onside. That wind is causing all sorts of problems at the back. Difficult to defend against. And perfect for an in-swinging corner.
McDonald teasing there with the short option. And he utilizes it. Just couldn't save it.
And that will have Bob Warming furious on the sidelines. You've got an incredibly strong breeze. You just want to whip it in and test out Casey Byers in goal.
And that's going to be a challenge for Penn State. Don't get too frustrated, though, because Coach Warming's saying that they kind of, after this rough patch, dropping 3 straight, they need to mentally reprogram, because a few guys on this Penn State team have hit the panic button. It's still standing atop the conference, though, with some company side by side. Have to realize this still could be a brilliant season for the Nittany Lions if they could get out of this little mini funk, as now they look for another chance on goal, just mistiming that run.
Of course they can get out of the mini funk, as you call it. 3 games, it's not a big deal at all. This is a very talented experienced and smart squad. And when you've got a coach like Bob Warming, who's a wonderful motivator, he's somebody who's very good with the players, knows each and every player extremely well and knows how to get them going. Such a successful coach. And I have no doubt, come Big Ten tournament time and beyond, that Penn State will be ready to go.
Nittany Lions now have been in Big Ten high offside 39 times here in their 15th game of the season. It's Minotillo that was a little overzealous moments ago. This is Drew Connor behind the ball, but only for a moment. But bullied right back by the Badgers. There's Barlow, making himself an option.
Yeah, Tommy Barlow again having to drop so deep, try and not only get a touch on the ball, but just to try and control possession of the ball for his team, giving his teammates an outlet.
Penn State actually won the coin toss, but they elected to go with the wind at their back here.
And rightly so. I mean, it makes complete sense. Try and go in with a goal or two lead at the break. You have all the momentum with you. And then you're the home team defending a lead in the second half. I mean, it makes sense. It's a tough one for Wisconsin. They've done well so far, nearly 15 minutes into this game.
So maybe if you're John Trask, saying let's play a little conservative the first 45 and then go get him in the second.
But look at the high press. It's non-existent. And Mark Segbers is happy just to drop off, stay with the runners, allow the back three keep it if they want. But like I said, as soon as that ball crosses the halfway line, that's when Wisconsin have to work hard and win the ball back. It's a great tackle.
It's Marks. Another look at that tackle in the midfield.
Minotillo, or Catalano, I should say.
It's Casey Byers, the redshirt sophomore. Between the sticks for Wisconsin, the well-known Andrew Wolverton, 2013 Big Ten Keeper of the Year. Guarding Penn State's goal is a little turn and pivot. There's the freshman Catalano. Had visions of Segbers, but it's gobbled up by Penn State. As Segbers was helped down there by Brian James, and the foul is called.
Excellent ability and tenacity to win the ball back with the foot, but watch the arm. Just that little arm around the side and the back, and that's what the referee saw. Otherwise, that's the type of work rate that John Trask wants to see.
Coach Trask talking about Mark Segbers. He's not just a fast kid who plays soccer. He's got the smarts. He can alter his speed. He can bait people. Hasn't had many touches so far. It's Brian James and the Nittany Lions will push it wide. Klingenberg.
Segbers is someone who always has that extra gear.
The launch from distance off the left boot of Mike Robinson, and that bullet right into the blue skies of Pennsylvania here with just under 31 minutes to go in this opening half.
I tell you, it's exciting times in Madison, Wisconsin when you've got Segbers and Barlow, and in behind playing at the tip of that diamond, you have someone like a Mikey Catalano as well as a freshman. Chris Mueller too coming through. It is exciting for John Trask. These are very talented footballers that they've got many years ahead of them in Wisconsin.
A few growing pains, but you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, they're not far away, Dan. They've been in every single game this season, I would argue, except for when they went away and they played against number 9 Georgetown earlier in the season. Apart from that, I think Wisconsin have been gritty, they've been determined, and it's been a wonderful learning curve year for these younger players.
Coming off of that clean sheet, their third clean sheet of the season, with that victory over UW-Milwaukee. Maybe that's the injection of confidence they need at this late stage of the season. So we'll stay with Tommy Barlow and the Badgers. There's our first look at Tommy Barlow. Coach John Trask, he's going to be on a Herman watch list. The final thought could improve. That's usually the last piece of the puzzle that comes, especially as he acclimates to a new level, a new speed. Getting caught on their heels a little bit. Surging forward here, Connor Maloney leads the pack for Penn State and gives it a hit. Ready for it was Byers.
The Nittany Lions have that dynamic ability on the flanks with Maloney and Klingenberg. Maloney's lightning quick, just takes on. The defenders are all petrified, backing off, backing off. Maloney lets rip. Not enough pace on the ball in the end, and a comfortable save for Byers. He's such a talented player, Connor Maloney. And someone, if he was to go on to the next level, I could probably see him as a fullback. He's a good defender, great discipline, works really hard, and he's got that pace and technical ability.
He gives up about 6 inches to Riley Grant, and he just pushed him off the ball as Connor Maloney. Things starting to open up a little more for Penn State.
You often see that with strikers in college can sometimes adapt at the next level to play in different positions. And I think someone like an Andrew Wenger, we're seeing that this year at Philadelphia, that he can play as a fullback and as a winger as well.
Maloney shirking loose, and the blast off the left foot drew Klingenberg. Nittany Lions strike first.
Superb technical ability from Klingenberg, his second of the season, and that was an absolute belter. Casey Byers could do very little about it. Look at the first touch. Connor Maloney with the wonderful assist. It's all about the first touch here from Klingenberg. Tucks it up on the right foot, pings it with the left. How about that? Pick it out, Klingenberg.
So according to script, Connor Maloney finds Drew Klingenberg in the 18th minute. The junior has his second of the season.
Like a goal kick! Like a goal kick! There we go!
You know, we were just talking about Connor Maloney. That goal is just made from the flanks. Drew Klingenberg tucking inside. Maloney's assist was incredible. Like I said, that first touch was the key. Drew Klingenberg, he didn't have much time and space. If that first touch isn't spot on, he doesn't have that opportunity. But credit to him. Look at Connor Maloney here. Down the left-hand side. Plenty of pace, lifts up the head. Look at the vision from Maloney. The touch from Klingenberg and the finish to boot.
And again, it was Riley Grant that was a little victimized, but it's Connor Maloney. Brilliant start for Penn State. Klingenberg the finish, and Bob Warming talking about he's had a player drafted every year from 1996 to 2013. What do you think about the future of Connor Maloney?
Yeah, like I was saying, I think he has that ability. We know, we've seen it so far this season and last year that he has everything you would want from a college soccer player. You know, if that's something he wants to do to try and go on to the next level, I would see him certainly out wide and maybe even as a fullback.
But Bob Warming, who knows North American soccer so well at the pro level, at the college level, saying versus 6-7 years ago, it's a lot more difficult to make that jump from college to Major League Soccer because the quality has grown, not just in Major League Soccer, but also talking about the USL great teams also.
Yeah, NASL too, the grade and the standard has improved a lot. I will argue though, there are more teams coming through, which will mean more opportunities for players.
Good news is for those feeder systems, a lot more American players playing at a higher level every day. You speak of that tidy resume, 5th season for Coach Bob Warming, second among active coaches in D1 wins, 2-time National Coach of the Year. Mind-boggling numbers at Creighton, former St. Louis University man. But now in charge of the Nittany Lions. Here comes Wisconsin. Just out of range for Barlow.
The wealth of quality coaches in the Big Ten is incredible. When you look around the conference at some of the coaches and the experience they have,
Yeah, I know.
and their awards and you know what they've won so far. John Trask, we touched upon his experience. Bob Warming, a legend at Creighton, now a legend in Penn State. Some of the players that they've coached, you just look at John Trask. I mean, someone he coached, Baggio Husidic, involved in the big game yesterday in Major League Soccer.
University of Illinois, a Chicago product. Penn State ready to line up this free kick. Just a shade under 25 minutes to go in the opening half. Gonzalez will play it square. Robinson shoots it into a troublesome area. Goal kick upcoming, just directed wide. It was Eli Dennis rising up.
Memories of last season when he was in those positions. Eli Dennis venturing forward. It was a great ball from Mikey Robinson. He found him inside the area. And, you know, if Eli Dennis is truthful with himself, he'll want to do better with that one. He used his muscle just to outdo the defender, and then when the ball came to him, it was a poorly directed header.
Like Coach Warming's honesty, you asked him this week because you chose him as your Big Ten Defender of the Year, and he made note how there's so many other great defenders around the conference, so the competition is tough, but he's definitely the transitional player of the year.
Yeah, I think, you know, Bob Warming was joking about that. For him to go from playing at the back to playing, or sorry, from playing up front to playing at the back, and the manner in which he did it. The last 3 games haven't been great for Penn State. You can't single out any players. There've been team errors that have cost the Nittany Lions goals. But Eli Dennis it's been seamless. And it helps when you've got a quality goalkeeper like Andrew Wolverton behind you. The vocal skills that Wolverton has. He's a real leader that will always help organize a backline.
That's the thing. Wolverton, along with this Penn State team, just hasn't been his sharpest self recently. These last 3 games as the Nittany Lions have scuffled. So Wisconsin, with that wind at their back in the second half, can formulate an attack. It'll be interesting to see how Wolverton in that back line for Penn State responds, but they lead 1-0. The goal, Drew Klingenberg. Sends another tester in. Right position for Casey Byers to make the save there on Minotillo.
Again, wonderful flank play from Klingenberg. Just whips it in. Wisconsin needs to do a better job of blocking those crosses. Very basic run down the right-hand side from Klingenberg, and Minotillo not too far away.
6-shot advantage. Klingenberg with the goal for Penn State. And with that 1-0 lead, after the recent rough patch, Penn State looking a lot more poised and confident behind the ball. They keep possession alive. Brian James is in the midst of it. Looking to switch, just overshot. Drops down to the feet of Brian Hale, the Wisconsin Badgers. Jeffrey Field, Penn State campus, 12th ranked Nittany Lions. They needed to get off to a good start at home in the hold-up play. And then the distribution from Connor Maloney leads to that strike from Drew Klingenberg.
I can't say it enough. The technical ability for Klingenberg to take that first touch and second touch in that same motion was a joy to watch. Maloney with his 3rd assist of the season as well.
Not a joy to watch for Casey Byers, because that's why he didn't have a chance. That quick touch soccer by Klingenberg after the beautiful feed.
It may have taken Byers by surprise a little bit. You saw Klingenberg down the right-hand side delivering a great ball. The reason Penn State can afford to go 3-5-2, well, it was by necessity as well, but they have the pieces to do so. You can only play 3 at the back if you've got the athletic, disciplined wingers that Bob Warming has in Connor Maloney and Drew Klingenberg. Players that are very good on both sides of the ball, that are extremely athletic and can get up and down the pitch all day long.
And when you say athletic, the first thing I think about with 3 in the back is you better be able to cover some ground and have some speed. But also intelligence can help make up for that too. As free kick here for Wisconsin. Sent in by Drew Connor. Getting ahead on it there was the freshman Mikey Catalano.
It's a rare thing in soccer to see a 3-5-2. You saw it during the World Cup with Holland and Louis van Gaal. He tried that same system when he went to Manchester United. It didn't last long because it didn't work. It didn't have the players to do it and execute it as well as Bob Warming has done here at Penn State. You see it around different, you know, it's a new trend nearly in soccer at the moment. You see it with Virginia in college soccer right now. The Cavaliers play 3 at the back. They were playing on Friday night and they had a centre back sent off. And the reason he was sent off was because his fellow on the right and on the left of the threesome at the back were too far apart and the ball was played over the top, and he hauled down the only defender between him and the goal, or the only striker between him and the goal, meaning that he was the last man and he had to go. And it's so important at the back for Penn State that those trio, when defending, become nice and compact together, and that the fullbacks really drop deep and help them out.
Coach Warming talking about how he can show them clips of video. They just need one clip and they're like, got it, coach. Doesn't matter. Brian James was looking to cobble his way out of coverage. A foul called. Brought down there was Catalano. Minotillo came in there. So we'll see if Wisconsin could generate something here. Send their first tester, Andrew Wolverton's way. Cross over his head, watched carefully by Drew Klingenberg in front.
Wonderful ball in. And Wisconsin had commit players into the area. And trailing this game now, they need to do that. Any good chance they get to get the ball wide. That's a wonderful delivery. Brian Hale just too far away at the back post.
Just not enough numbers forward so far for Wisconsin as Brian Hale launches it in. Dangerous second ball laid there for a moment. Hale has it jabbed off his boots, but Wisconsin behind the ball once again.
You know, Dan, we've talked about the youth of Wisconsin in this season and bringing in so many freshmen, 12 freshmen in total. The big part for me, though, is you've got to replace the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. That's a double whammy. That's tough for John Trask to do that. And I think he's done a wonderful job of trying to get these guys in and gel them. Yes, they're still seeking their first win in the Big Ten. But as you can see, nearly a half an hour into this game, this is a tough Wisconsin side that's well able to battle. And you know, it's not easy to replace a Tomislav Zadro up front. Someone as tall and as technical as Zadro. And then, of course, AJ Cochran at the back, now playing with the Houston Dynamo in Major League Soccer. One of the best defenders in the country last year in college soccer.
That's when a guy like John Trask and his coaching staff have to do their best coaching with 7 combined underclassmen in their starting 11. Here's Penn State looking for that second goal. Missing the connection going forward with Mikey Minotillo. Catalano, the freshman, walking off a knock. Connor was fouled there by Connor Maloney.
Connor Maloney just goes in, doesn't shy away. Speaking of shying away, Drew Connor, there's someone who won't back out of a challenge. You saw Mikey Catalano there just feeling the effects of a challenge, and he's someone who is going to be absolutely essential, critical for Wisconsin in the second half. Given that they have the breeze in the second half, they need that creative player that can take a touch and that can thread the ball through the eye of a needle into the onrushing Segbers and Barlow. He plays in that attacking midfield role, and he's a very, very good player, Mikey Catalano. Someone really for the future at Wisconsin, and I think given the opportunity in the second half, if he can remain on the pitch, and hopefully he's fit enough to do so, he'll be a big-time player.
Just under 17 to go in the opening half. Wins at the back of Penn State. They have the 1-0 lead. Are they still going to go hard for that second goal, or are they content to get to the break with the 1-0 lead? As here's Wisconsin's Tommy Barlow looking for the equalizer. Barlow save Wolverton. And looking and calling for a handball in the penalty area, but no, but Andrew Wolverton showing his size and grace there in the soft hands for the reaction stop.
And just look at the power and pace of Tommy Barlow. He's only a freshman, but he says, get out of the way. Towering through on goal. And this is a spectacular save from Wolverton. Look at the quick reflexes of the big goalkeeper. That's a special save to keep his side in it.
He's allowed 8 in his last 3 games, and those are not numbers you're expected to see from Andrew Wolverton in the stingy Penn State side. So nice to get that early confidence with a stellar stop on a quality player like Tommy Barlow.
He hasn't been at his best over the past 3 games, Andrew Wolverton. I think he'd admit that himself. But it's difficult for a goalkeeper when you have such a strong breeze. The ball, you haven't really seen it throughout the course of this first half. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're required to make a world-class save. And that's when a goalkeeper needs to keep his attention at all times and step up big time for his team. And that's exactly what he did.
Before Barlow and Wolverton interrupted your thought, is Penn State, are they going to go hard for that second goal? Do you think they're satisfied eking out a 1-0 lead after the first half of play?
Oh, absolutely go hard for it. They were 1-0 up against West Virginia during the week, and they conceded 2 goals in 9 minutes. If that's not a lesson, I don't know what is.
And you're starting to see more life here for Wisconsin. Long ball sent Segber's way. They're going to leave some change there for Mark Segbers and the Badgers to try to create. Segbers into the penalty area, making the overlap just across the face of goal. But again, Wisconsin creeping closer to the tying goal.
Drew Connor, that's the leadership that this Wisconsin team needs right now.
Brian!
The catalyst behind the attack, and then the pairing up front, the partnership, the little 1-2 between Segbers and Barlow.
Come on, buddy. All right, here we go.
Clubbed down in the midfield by Wisconsin, but brushed way forward by Penn State. As we go back to September 12th, Rutgers, the Badgers, just that little quick 1-2 touch soccer. Tommy Barlow rounds the keeper.
What an opening to his Big Ten career. First game of the season on the Big Ten Network, and it was Tommy Barlow that opened the network season in style with an absolutely cracking goal. Brilliant 1-2 with his partner Segbers. And nice and early on the Big Ten Network and in their Big Ten Conference season, you could see the chemistry between those 2 players.
Coach Trask saying that he's had pro coaches talk about a young Tommy Barlow already because they like the way he makes those moves. An educated, gifted player. Talk about that duo, Barlow and Segbers, both out of the St. Louis area, though. Interestingly enough, childhood friends since they were 9 or 10 out of the acclaimed Scott Gallagher soccer factory, but they weren't drafted as a duo. They came here separately, but it's helped make that transition that much easier to a new school, new level of competition, having your childhood mate right on your side.
Mike, second half maybe, but not now.
Coach Trask says they're thick as thieves, both of them. They have such a good friendship together, and he's the player for me. Tommy Barlow's the player for me that I've been really impressed with. Saw the game against Rutgers earlier in the year, and it was Segbers that got the goal, the equalizer that brought the game to overtime. But I thought throughout the course of the game that it was Tommy Barlow that just played beyond his years. Yes, he's a freshman, extremely young, and still has a lot to learn, but his composure, his ability to hold up the ball, and his technical ability with the ball at his feet, we saw that when he decided to take on the fullback and get the shot off. That was wonderfully saved by Wolverton.
There you go. Good.
And it's good because Wisconsin needs it. Minotillo, flag coming up. He was fancying a chance to make it 2-0 here with 12 minutes left in the opening half. And a reminder, next Sunday on BTN, coverage of Big Ten men's soccer continues as Michigan travels to East Lansing to take on number 10 Michigan State. Coverage of the beautiful game continues next Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern on BTN and BTN to go as the blustery conditions continue here in Pennsylvania.
Second ball.
Maybe they'll have a bit more success than the football team last night.
Making a stroll forward Catalano dragging some Nittany Lions with him. Kazmir check. Watched carefully by Savino on the perimeter of the penalty area, dumming by Wisconsin to help keep this possession alive. But just that little jab, and it's Minitillo gallivanting out of trouble for the Nittany Lions. Looking to switch, but well anticipated by that Badger back line. Segbers wins the aerial challenge. Barlow coming back.
I think John Trask is going to be very pleased with the way his side has grown into this game. Just look at the jersey, the way the wind is blowing it back. It's not an easy first half for his young Badgers team, and they've performed very well, and they've grown into the game, and they can go in with plenty of confidence. They don't want to concede again before the half. But the way Barlow in particular has grown into this game, Drew Connor, Mikey Catalano as well, it's been very impressive.
Hear the encouraging words there of Coach Bob Warming. One of the messages, we don't want to go back, trying to keep things going forward here in the final 10 minutes and get another clutch goal on their home field. Because as my partner Kevin Egan mentioned, the Badgers have matured as this match has moved on, and they've been more of a threat recently. It's Mason Clerks dealing with the pressure and contact well, and we look at this opening strike started by Maloney.
Well, it's that good, we may as well take another look at it. Klingenberg, special finish, and it was a great first touch that gave him that opportunity. His second of the season.
Stay with us during our halftime coverage. We'll look back at some notable matches this season. It's in the midst of one right now. James will play it out wide. Minitillo, the cross. Brian Hale was prepared.
It was an absolutely brilliant bit of creativity. Take the ball toward the byline and whip it in nice and low. Nobody from Penn State took a gamble on that.
At halftime, we'll also look back at that Indiana-Michigan game.
Look at that for a great ball across the 6.
Got to keep your eye on the standings this time of the year. Things are tight up top. The surprise team, Ohio State, tied with Penn State. Prior to action today, it's Brian James and the Nittany Lions. Minitillo, he's been so solid to the game's goal scorer, Drew Klingenberg. He's been dangerous down this right side, churning with the speed. And he gets the corner as it takes a deflection off the boot of Brian Hale.
That's good disciplined defending there from Brian Hale. Didn't dive in. Stuck with Klingenberg the whole way. Doing a stand-up job with his defensive duties. Well done.
Was ready to make that separating touch there was Drew Klingenberg, and just extending was Hale. But it leads to this corner as you see the leaves churning in this fall day in Pennsylvania. The red shirt sophomore shading the eyes. Casey Byers directing his defenders, sent in. Penn State plays it short. Peeled in there, but sprouting up in time. Wisconsin just happy to play it to a safe area here, and hopefully time runs out here in the opening half.
The last time Penn State had this opportunity, they decided to play it short. I wonder have they learned from that. It's a good opportunity to whip one in, use the advantage that you have, that is the breeze.
It's Kashik. See that off-ball movement? McDonald makes himself available, but it's off the boot of Connor and then sent back in and there to claim it immediately is Casey Byers. Talk about a big keeper. Got two big keepers this afternoon, and Andrew Wolverton, a 6'5" Casey Byers. He was a starter for a good portion of last year and now really getting acclimated, playing every minute this season.
Yeah, competing heavily with Adrian Remenuk, who's a freshman from Glenview, Illinois. Remenuk's a very good goalkeeper, good potential. So Casey Byers has his handful trying to keep that #1 spot with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin looking for the equalizer late, but it's Robinson on the ball. Finds a shooting Kyle McDonald who was just forced out. You look at a great challenge along the flank.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want from your team. Just that dedication. Never give up on the cause. Kashik with the good challenge. There was a poor corner there moments ago from Kashik again. Not to harp on it, but when you have that breeze, you just need to use it to your advantage. Just float one up. You absolutely need to test Casey Byers in those situations.
So under 5. Both sides trying to keep things safe. Lurking there is Connor Maloney. It's rising above Segbers there was Eli Dennis. Catalano. Mark Segbers, little space. Segbers into the penalty area. Handing it off, and Wisconsin bounding it by Andrew Wolverton. And a little late half magic. A frustrated Andrew Wolverton can only watch.
Beautiful play though from Segbers, just picks it up at ease and squares it across, and the deflection, and Joe Nocton hits the back of the net and celebrates in style. Wisconsin have grown into this game as Penn State has sat off, and they've deserved that equalizer.
So they'll take the little bonus deflection. Naughton has leveled it. Connor Maloney and Penn State looking for an immediate response. This is McDonald on the ball. McDonald, dangerous cross over the outstretched palms of Casey Byers.
John Charras will be so proud of his team, the way they've defended and grown in confidence and got back into this game. They do need to do a better job though of just closing down. I praised Brian Hale moments ago for his defensive duties. Just got to get a foot on that cross, because Penn State has looked very good down the right and left flanks, well able to deliver a ball, and when they do so, they absolutely need their main man up front, Minatio, to be in the right areas. Because Connor Maloney's drifter, he's a drifter. I mean, he can go right, he can go left. He'll roam as much as possible. I think Minatio needs to be that presence that's always an outlet up front. It's always looking to get on the end of crosses.
Would you classify Maloney as a poacher?
Yeah, I mean, this season, to be a poacher, he's proven that this season, that he has 9 goals already this season, 3 assists. But he's someone who can find his way into. He's turned people on the dribble though, and he's been able to spin so fast that players can't keep up with him.
Mason Clarks couldn't get that ball to cooperate. Casey Byers will take his sweet time as this Wisconsin team, energized by the goal from Joe Naughton. Wisconsin just trying to get through this opening half. They get the late half goal that can change the momentum. And then they'll have the fortune of having the wind at their back in the second half. As Brian Hale will turn it out. Segbers, a little surprised by the company swarming him. The Nittany Lion goal scorer, Drew Klingenberg. Here's Klingenberg. Under 90 seconds to go. Lays it off for Maloney, twisting and turning. It's Maloney over the roof of the goal.
Big halftime team talk now for Bob Warming. I think John Trask is going to look for more of the same. The work rate is there. Their game plan has to adapt a little bit, obviously, given that they have a huge breeze behind their back. For Bob Warming, he's not going to be happy because the reality is Penn State have dominated large parts of this game and have had chances.
Joe Naughton, first career goal, making the big difference here late in the half for Wisconsin. Casimir check. Good save here in the final 30. It's Robinson, the anticipation there for Penn State, forcing things wide. It's Casimir check. Will allow Brian Hale to hoist it in. Final play of this opening half.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
second ball,
2,
not enough time to get the shot off as Riley Grant, the defensive presence in the penalty area for Penn State, keeps things safe. Drew Klingenberg, his second goal of the season, opened up the scoring for Penn State, but it was Joe Naughton, his first strike of his collegiate career, levels the match for Wisconsin. Thankful for a deflection, and it's good to have the veteran man in charge of the Penn State Nittany Lions, Bob Warming, live on the headset with us. And Bob, the blustery conditions there, you chose to go winning the toss and you chose to go with the wind at your back. What was the rationale for that decision from your perspective?
I don't know. Would you have a better choice? Well, we really wanted to have most of the ball and to start off the game, try to get our confidence up, try to be able to keep the ball a little bit more. And I thought we did have the ball a lot in the game, and hopefully we'll have the same amount of the ball in the second half. I think for us it was just a matter of confidence.
What was your thought process, Coach, behind putting Maloney up front ahead of on the flank? He seems to be roaming a lot.
Yeah, he is. He's been pretty darn dangerous up there, I think, and will continue to be. We get him the ball a little bit more. We're missing a piece. We're missing an important piece in Owen Griffith, and we've had to adjust our lineup a little bit. And I think Connor's been really effective. He really got us that goal. Great little turn on the end line, and Drew's finish was just top class. I mean, such skill to take that in 2 touches like that.
Coach, thanks as always for the laughs and the classy conversation. Good luck in the second.
Thanks, fellas. Bye-bye.
Bob Warming back to work. Time for a little team talking to for both Trask and Warming. Nothing decided through 45 minutes from Happy Valley. Back in the Penn State campus, good to be joined by the boss of the Badgers, 5th-year head coach John Trask. And John, the last 15-20 minutes, your team started to make a difference in the match. From your perspective, did you do anything differently out there on the field?
No, I think we were just looking for our moments. It's a pretty stiff win, guys. I know you're back in Chicago, but, it's one of those games. I mean, we had to counter them a little bit, and I thought we did a good job. Unfortunate to give up the goal, but got one back before halftime. So it's all even, and we're going to take the win and hopefully go at them in the second half.
Coach Trask, best of luck. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, what spectacular conditions in Pennsylvania this afternoon. Making the trip from Madison, Wisconsin, Mark Segbers and Tommy Barlow looking to pull off the upset. They get the goal from Naughton, his first of his collegiate career. They look for more of the same here in the second half.
It's a big-time test of character now for Penn State in the second half. Had the lead, completely dominated the opening half hour of this game. And now against the breeze, playing at home, ranked number 12 in the country. I mean, they have to go out and try and win this game. Give it absolutely everything.
Going for a stroll out wide, Mikey Minatio. Savino will cautiously play it back. And remember, Coach Warming saying prior to this match, Penn State had dropped 3 straight. He saw some of his guys hit the panic button. And maybe that button has been hit again after they take the late half hit and Wisconsin gets the equalizer. In time now for our State Farm State of Success, and good news for John Trask and his Wisconsin Badgers. 10 of their 15 this season scored in the second stanza.
They've got character. They've been in every game, apart from the Georgetown match, I think, and nothing's changed for this one here.
Catalano looking to create more space. Kazmierczak twisting and turning on the possession, trying to hold it. As it's just jabbed out off the boot of Savino. See the wind at the Badgers back here in the second half. Jeffrey Field, Penn State campus. The Nittany Lions began today's play tied with Ohio State at the top of the conference. As everyone jockeys for position for the Big Ten tournament. A presence there in the penalty area by Penn State. Right back to the feet of Hale. Wolverton was ready.
I tell you what, Dan, that's a weapon in the second half. Brian Hale from the throw-ins, nearly as good as a corner. Fantastic elevation on the throw, and that's going to cause Penn State trouble. Eli Dennis at the back, also Andrew Wolverton in goal, need to be on their toes.
Coach Trask using Brian Hale as an example of how inexperienced they are, because he's the 4th most experienced player, Hale, but just had 500 minutes last year, and this is a season that has 2,000 minutes available. So it just sums up how young and naive this Wisconsin team is, but as we touched upon, they have the talented pieces to be a team to reckon with in the future.
Sometimes those younger players, you mentioned the word naive, they play with naivety, you know, and innocence. And they don't get awed by going to play against the 12th ranked team or the top team in the Big Ten. And that's a good thing, especially come tournament time. Wisconsin could very well be up against Rutgers in the 8-9 game. And they'll feel they owe Rutgers one after the opening game of the season in the Big Ten when Rutgers won in overtime.
Mark Segbers. Little chip into the penalty area, and a good timing by Wolverton to greet that ball first. And the good news is we speak of the 7 combined underclassmen for Wisconsin, but it's the time of the year where you're experienced. As here's Penn State going forward. Maloney on the swerve. Just denied access to the penalty area as Radonjic was back for Wisconsin. But guys like Barlow and Segbers and Mikey Catalano, they're not really freshmen anymore, especially the adversity this team has dealt with this year. Learning and losing on the fly during conference play. As Penn State trying to protect their home fortress, looking to reclaim the lead again. Searching ball into the penalty area. Minatio able to latch onto it. Has Savino there next to him. Savino, the little separating touch, the cross, but not enough blue and white there. High boot there of Kazmierczak. Has Wisconsin have possession momentarily, but here's Kyle McDonald sprinting forward. As Maloney makes the run into the penalty area. And a calmness here to begin the second half from Penn State. McDonald will shoot it out wide again. Cross dumped in, just out of range for Minatio. There to pick up the scraps, Brian James makes the turn on Segbers. Segbers using that speed well to stay with them. The composed turn by Mason Clerks despite having a few Badgers on him. Still the early minutes of the second half. Some misconnection on the way as we look at the most recent long ball from Drew Klingenberg.
When you've got an outlet like Maloney, why not? Running at pace, takes the ball in his stride, and a robust challenge at the back from Mataj Radonic. And just a little bit earlier, that was the lovely bit of trickery from Brandon Savino down the left-hand side. Once more, Penn State needs to gamble on that cross. They need to know Savino has the ability to whip it into the best area.
Defensive presence of Minotillo coming back to get a foot on that.
You mentioned the term poacher earlier, Dan. I think that's when you need a poacher supreme, someone in that area. Penn State have had many of those opportunities in this game where you just want somebody in around the box, a little fox in the box to just be in the right place at the right time.
Catalano, the freshman, deals with the rugged protection. They were looking to combine for Segbers there.
I look for Wisconsin to take more pop shots from distance. Segbers about 3 or 4 minutes ago had an opportunity and he went for the slip ball through to his fellow striker. Let rip, have a go from distance, keep it low and hard. With these conditions, it's going to be very difficult for Andrew Wolverton to hold them.
From the corner, service in, dealt with by Penn State, and anyone who's ever tried to land an airplane at State College, this is what you see around here oftentimes. Turbulent wind. It's been blowing hard all afternoon.
No net behind the goal. It's a busy day for the ball boy.
It's a busy day around the campus. The ball boys are getting their work as men's hockey also. So we're in the shadows of Beaver Stadium, Bryce Jordan Center, and Pagula Ice Arena. Holy Cross and Penn State men's action. Earlier, Erica Walsh and the women's side wrapped up their 16th Big Ten regular season title with their victory on the same Jeffrey Field just mere minutes before opening kickoff as they dispatched Iowa.
Congratulations, Erica Walsh. What an achievement. Talk about a winning program. Knowing how to get it done.
With expectations too, year in, year out. Here's Segbers probing forward for Wisconsin. Sends a dangerous ball across the face of goal. Settled down by Kazmierczak. Drew Connor, number 7 for Wisconsin. He's been real good. The ball hunger there of Connor Maloney, a little too much to deal with. We talk about Erica Walsh's winning team. Those smiles, they should become accustomed to this now. The 2-1 win over Iowa. No Maya Hayes, no Taylor Schramm, no problem. It's Wisconsin. The hit from distance, bounding wide. As Catalano let it fly.
That's the idea. Have a go from distance, why not? Look at that success.
Just a brief break last year. It's nice to get back to the promised land.
Just needed a breather.
Well, another team here on the Penn State campus that would like to claim a regular season title.
Which way you want me to go?
The Badgers have been coming. Eli Dennis will chest it down, safely away into the wind. Not very far.
Another Big Ten action, Northwestern and Michigan State still tied, heading for a second overtime. Something Northwestern are getting a little bit used to this season. Already played in overtime games against Michigan, Indiana, and Maryland in Big Ten play.
If you're just joining us, Bob Warming touched upon it at halftime. a giant void and weapon missing. The very versatile Owen Griffith, the team captain, out with injury for Penn State. So a little challenge this afternoon against this young, resurgent Wisconsin side. There, visions of Kyle McDonald as we look back at the goals in the first half, and all started by the hold-up and set-up ability from Connor Maloney.
I can't tell you how good that first touch is from Klingenberg. Bob Warming mentioned it at the halftime break, and he's right to do so. It was a sublime touch. And then the equaliser. This is about Segbers, the vision from the freshman, showing plenty of experience to pick out Joe Nocton. Yes, it was a very lucky deflection, but I think over the course of the first half, Wisconsin deserved that equaliser.
They haven't been bad here in the second either. Would you agree, partner?
Yeah, and they will have chances. The breeze, the elements, you know, it's affecting the game in a big, big way.
Flag coming up here with just under 34 minutes to go in this second half. So Wisconsin trying to avoid going winless in conference play for the first time since 2007. They've been in every match, but with this youthful side, taking a lot of losses in conference play.
And for Penn State, Dan, for Penn State, I mean, this is a must-win game in so many ways. Ahead of the tournament for their confidence, they've got two really tricky games remaining before the Big Ten tournament. They have to travel to Lakeside Field and Northwestern. We've mentioned the breeze an awful lot. We know what it's like in Evanston. And on that AstroTurf pitch, difficult conditions there. It's never an easy place to go. Tim Lenihan always has a very well-drilled Northwestern team that are tough to play against. And then Penn State welcome Akron. Always a solid program. So a win at home here to put an end to this losing skid, I mean, I think it's vital.
And what would a loss do to Penn State? There were already whispers of guys starting to panic after dropping 3 straight on the trot after a nearly unblemished start to the season. They fell to the Badgers and made it 4 straight here in their home fortress. That might be panic time as Wisconsin looking for their first lead of the game. It's Brian Hale looking for possession, leaves the little back heel, but gobbled up by Penn State. Starting to get a little dicey in the back, the turnover. Wisconsin will see what they can do with it.
Yeah, getting a little chippy. Both sides failing to just get a real hold of the football, hold on to possession for a sustained amount of time.
Nice crowd gathered this afternoon. They celebrated the women earlier. Now they'd like to celebrate the men's work this afternoon. A little breather for Mark Segbers. As the concerned Nittany Lion fans look on. It's Tommy Barlow and Wisconsin holding possession. Hale will lose it.
Segbers has gone off. In comes senior Jacob Brindle. He's got a big role to play. Segbers is performing very well, linking up well with his teammates. Wisconsin can expect to have a lot of the ball in the second half. They have to make it count.
Savino wins the aerial challenge. Will brush it ahead. So with Penn State playing into the win in the second half, not as much of a threat going forward. The threat continues for Catalano and the Wisconsin Badgers. It's Jacob Brindle, the man who came in for Segbers, denied access on that cross. Minotillo, a good job to make himself available, and it will go Penn State's direction.
Minotillo just drawing the foul from Grant Stoneman. Another freshman to play in this game for Wisconsin.
Badgers, Tommy Barlow leads the brigade. Barlow the left foot, and Wolverton stays right with him.
Not a bad attempt at all from Tommy Barlow. Just runs straight at the defender. Eli Dennis does well, shows him to the outside, but that's what Barlow wanted to do. It was a tight angle for the striker. Just ghosted around Eli Dennis, but it was Wolverton who made a big-time stop.
Those final few steps, I think he surprised Eli Dennis a little bit. That he had that in his locker here, reaching up with the left paw as Wolverton, things getting a little dangerous around the Penn State goal. Radonich, the cross. A lot of blue and white around it, safely away.
You know, that's the first time in this game, Dan, that we've seen a quality delivery from a corner. It was perfect. That's exactly what you want to do with these conditions, is get the ball in high. An in-swinger in on top of the goalkeeper. It was panic stations for a moment with Wolverton, just getting a small fist on it.
He's a big dude.
Big man.
Connor Maloney keeping that back line honest for Wisconsin, and here's that in-swinging corner you spoke about.
Absolutely perfect. This is what you want. Clipping it in toward that back post, plenty of Badgers inside the area. Make Penn State defend. That's the whole purpose of it. So far earlier in the game, we saw short corners that just weren't executed well at all.
It's the voice of Kevin Egan. Some people in Major League Soccer circles refer to him as the Irish heartthrob. I'm merely Dan Kelly, backed up by our beautiful BTN crew, and it's been some good soccer on this match number 2 of the doubleheader. It's Klingenberg, the goal scorer for the Nittany Lions, 1v2 there on the outside. As we look at it, the most recent nifty touch.
It's a great ball. Lovely little touch. Klingenberg, crafty player to the outside. No nonsense defending once more from Brian Hale. When he's been asked to defend for his team, Hale has been magnificent.
Off the boot of Byers, into the breeze here under 27 minutes to go. Feel like we have another goal left in this game, and watching Wisconsin, I think they're due for one.
When you get to this stage in games, it's just about being clinical. Both coaches will look to their players and say, if given the opportunity, and you can be sure both teams will get good opportunities.
Sprouting up there was Kyle McDonald. The clearance provided by Wisconsin. 50-50 ball. Look at the race to the end line. Mikey Robinson handling things well on the back line for Penn State.
Nice foot race here, and it was Barlow with the pace, had caught up to Mikey Robinson. And Robinson's such a smart guy. Just used all his muscle. Never going to give away a free kick in that scenario. I've been very impressed with him throughout his career. He's a senior now at Penn State. Started all matches last year in a Big Ten regular season title winning team.
And that was a great look at his veteran experience right there. As you mentioned, Barlow's beating him, but he just used that momentum and just gave him a slight little nudge and helped Tommy out so it could be a goal kick his way.
But Bob Warming speaks very fondly of his back three, just talking about their intelligence off the pitch. You know, describing Mikey Robinson, he's saying he's smarter than smart. He's an engineering major. You look at someone like Mason Clerks, who was accepted at Stanford. Eli Dennis as well, a very smart player and a very smart student too. And sometimes if you have that intelligence, you can take it to the pitch, and in a scenario like that, just be able to read the game so well and shepherd the ball out of play. Here's a look back at that little knock there. Nothing too major.
Clerks coming in there on Mikey Catalano, the freshman.
Catalano, remember, had a knock in the first half as well. We talk an awful lot about Barlow and Segbers, but John Trask is excited about the prospect that is Mikey Catalano.
It's been a fun day for the home side. They celebrated a regular season title with the women first and trying to wrap up the day with a victory for their high-flying men. But it's been a frustrating match. Wisconsin just not going away as Mikey Catalano is helped off. Well, a reminder, BTN is your home for the 2014 Big Ten Men's Soccer Championship. Semifinal coverage of the Big Ten Men's Soccer Tournament begins Friday, November 14th on BTN and BTN to go. As you know, Kevin, always proves to be an epic weekend of soccer, especially when you've had a build-up like this all season. Things are tight up top amongst Penn State and Ohio State.
Very much so. Credit to Northwestern. 4 overtime games this season against Big Ten opponents. Didn't lose any of them. Three ties, though, in those games. What a tight race it's becoming.
Segbers.
From a neutral standpoint, you look at Penn State's losses. It's been great for the neutral because it's brought other teams back into the race and given the Big Ten soccer fan and the college soccer fan an exciting close to the regular season.
You brought out your crystal ball earlier this season. Put you on the spot. You got a favorite for the tournament? And don't just go for the easy pick, maybe.
There is no easy pick. If there is, you tell me. I don't see an easy pick at all.
Fair point.
I think Ohio State is someone coming in with plenty of confidence right now and momentum. And, you know, we all know, come tournament time, momentum is everything. If you can come in off the back of a few wins, second ball on the pitch, the referee's going to have to draw a halt to here. But if you can come into a tournament with momentum, you've seen Maryland now peaking at the right time. If I'm going to pick one team, I'd have to pick Sasha Swarovski's team, just because they look like a team that's really starting to gel.
Now Mark Wadid on the pitch here for Penn State. He can be a difference maker, as Coach Warming says. He defines himself by scoring, and he hasn't made the definition recently, but he's got the potential and the pedigree to be a game breaker. So make the trot to the corner. They go back to Wadid out the corner. Little delicate service. Savino waits for it to cooperate, but taken back over by Wisconsin and just safely to a nice spot in the field.
I love the urgency from Mikey Robinson to get there and start an attack again. With that breeze, if I'm Wisconsin now, I'm high pressing. I'm trying to win that ball higher up the pitch. It's going to give you opportunities. If you can take the ball and dispossess an Eli Dennis or a Mike Robinson at the back, you're going to be one-on-one with the goalkeeper. It's a lot more difficult to do it without the breeze, but now in the second half, I think that's something that John Trask's team should do an awful lot better.
Frustrated Mike Catalano.
It is the same guy, right?
He's taken a few knocks also this afternoon.
Yeah, just clipped at the heels. It was Connor Maloney. Catalano, not a happy camper with Maloney at all. Gave him a nice polite word or two.
Welcome to the Big Ten, kid. Two fierce combatants. Caban lines things up off this free kick. Handball. Just under 22.5 minutes remaining here in regulation. And Coach Trask saying that Tommy Barlow, their number 11 for Wisconsin, he should draw more than one penalty that he's helped his team to this year from the spot. Should be about 4 or 5 with the abilities he has. And we saw him drawing attention in the penalty area in the opening half with a good bid.
I think that's experience. Being able to draw a penalty, it requires you know, a certain smell from a striker to know exactly what to do at certain times. And you're not looking for a player to you're certainly not looking for a player to dive or, you know, put on the acting boots. But being able to know where you are and who's around you at certain scenarios is a key attribute of a good striker.
Should have been you getting that ball, Steadbeard. Get hungry. You should have run right by Barlow on that one.
That message from Coach John Trask to Mark Segbers saying, should have run right by your childhood friend there, Tommy Barlow, showing this urgency here late, all level at 1. It's the big crowd gathered on this Penn State campus on Jeffrey Field has quieted down, expecting their home side to come away with the result this afternoon.
It's at a critical point of the game now, where the Badgers need to believe that they can win this game. Up against the champions, a team that sits atop of the Big Ten standings, ranked number 12, they're playing in their home yard. Do the Badgers actually believe they can win this game?
Wadid plays it into the penalty area. One touch, just dribbling wide. Minatio not full force behind that opportunity.
Well, Wadid can stretch the fences, we know that. Lovely ball through from Wadid. Gets it across. It was Kyle McDonald that played the ball across. And Minatio needs to go through that ball. Needs to put his body on the line and just go through that ball. That's a glorious opportunity for Penn State to take the lead.
So fluffs the chance, but you get an idea that Minatio has the quality. If he has a second opportunity, he'll make good.
Be interesting to see how Mark Wadid can do. He's fast, he's powerful. I mentioned how he can stretch the fences. And now with fresh legs coming into this game, you know, he's a guy who has 3 assists this season, but he desperately needs a goal. He's the type of guy that give him a goal or two and his confidence just starts to light up. He's the type of guy who could really launch his college career, you know, given a goal or two.
He's a Toronto kid, the Mississauga area, won a Golden Boot in Canada, and Coach was saying how really got noticed by a lot of pro scouts in the Generation Adidas Cup with his brilliant play. Rising up is Segbers, but it's Savino and Penn State.
Come on, Jacob, you gotta get physical. Get behind. Post up on a guy when we're winning head ball.
Both coaches so vocal at this point in the game. Both coaches have to realize this game is 50-50 right now. We spoke about it earlier on, Dan, in the open, saying that yes, it's top team against the bottom team, but this is such an even matchup. With one team coming in off the back of 3 losses, the other, that's Penn State. Wisconsin coming in off the back of a wonderful win over Milwaukee. Maybe this young Badger team starting to get a bit of confidence at the right time. And what 3 points would do today for their confidence would be incredible.
Love listening to Coach Trask and Coach Warming. 70 to 80% of the message is their team always thinking 20 to 30% stay in the officiating crew's ear. Sell your case. Dangerous ball floated around for a while, quieted down by Wolverton, begins the distribution to Drew Klingenberg. Down to make the tackle there is Brian Hale. So we look at that long throw in once again.
That's a weapon. That's for sure. Great delivery once more. And in the end, it nearly fell through to Jacob Brindle at the back post.
There's Jacob Brindle. Recaptured possession just for a moment. Eli Dennis out of the back, and they're challenging, navigating the win there, Savino. Tracking back there, Savino, number 14 for Penn State. He's been good this afternoon. A lot of touches for Kyle McDonald. It's Klingenberg. Wadid will play it back. McDonald time and room to make the right decision. Connor Maloney launching from distance and just helped out by Casey Byers.
Brilliant build-up play from Penn State. Very patient, switching the play nice and quick and dragging Wisconsin out of position. In the end, that opened up the space for the Big Ten's top marksman, Connor Maloney from distance. Fair play to Casey Byers, got down nice and fast. It's a good stop.
Corner coming in, punched away by Byers, dangerous second ball. Savino with the chance as it's calmed down by the redshirt sophomore.
Keep dropping, fellas, keep coming.
Well, Casey Byers, a very lucky man. First of all, he made the great save, but then, yes, it's a difficult one to catch with the breeze, but I think that's a basic catch for a goalkeeper. I think he's got to catch that ball instead of going to fist it.
Kept it alive in a dangerous area. We heard the big voice of Bob Warming, the head coach for Penn State, moments ago. As soon as Casey Byers was ready for that goal kick, keep dropping, boys, keep dropping, because the pressure is coming here from Wisconsin, and lately Penn State doing some good things going forward too. You know you're going to see another glorious chance in this match. Will the clean finish be there? If not, extra soccer on the agenda this afternoon. Maloney, 9 goals on the year. Dispossessed there nicely by the freshman Catalano. It's Drew Klingenberg, the only goal scorer for Penn State, opened up the scoring. It was Joe Naughton with the equalizer for Wisconsin, his first collegiate goal.
If I'm a complete outsider and I'm tuning into the last 10 minutes of this game, I'm saying that Penn State are by far and away the most experienced team on the pitch. I think Wisconsin needs to believe a bit more. Such a young team, but they need to go after this game. They've got the breeze at their back, they've got the legs, and they've got the talent. I do believe that if they high press a little bit more and try and put that back three under a lot more pressure, they'll force errors.
Get this thing done right now, all right?
Yeah, it's time to get this thing done right now if you're Penn State. On your home field, expected to win.
Penn State's look comfortable. Brian James, Kyle McDonald, Brandon Savino, all possessing the ball very well in midfield. It's a big day, especially for their seniors.
Come on, Kyle.
The highest scoring team in the conference, Penn State, averaging over 1.5 goals a game, but coming into this match, just 1 goal over their last 3. And again, a stingy Badger back line. Some timely stops from Casey Byers have held them to only 1. Visions of a pro career. Andrew Wolverton, the big keeper, between the sticks, begins the attack for Penn State. Under 13 minutes to go. Gonzalez spots Wadid, but couldn't latch onto it. Segber's looking for a response. Helping keep possession alive, Tommy Barlow. Now making the surge, Kazmierczak. Eli Dennis able to get to that first, but Wisconsin still trying to generate some trouble. Quick thought there by Drew Connor, keeps the possession alive. Segbers was trying to find it. As we go back to the goal scoring in the first half, it was Penn State, the orchestrator, Connor Maloney.
The best 2 players in the first half for Penn State. Connor Maloney with the assist. Drew Klingenberg. When he scores goals, they're usually special strikes. And that one certainly was. Great first touch. Second touch was just as good. And then Segbers lifts the head, picks out Nocton, takes a wicked deflection. That's awful unlucky for Penn State, but you know, came with the run of play. I thought Wisconsin really grew into the first half and thoroughly deserved that equalizer.
So a free kick for Drew Klingenberg, the Nittany Lions. Second for Klingenberg, first of his collegiate career for Joe Naughton. It took a deflection off of Gonzalez.
And look at the high pressure. Look at the high pressure. What did we talk about? That's an instruction from John Trask, you can be sure of it, that Mark Segbers and Tom Barlow need to high press a bit more, force the errors. And I think that's how they could squeak out a winner in this game.
Here's another look at that press. All of a sudden right into the face of Wolverton.
Yeah, you stand off, you show a team like Penn State all the respect in the world with 10 minutes to go. You know, what's the point? You've got 10 minutes, put it all out there and force errors. It's the belief in this Wisconsin team that needs to be there. They're a very talented squad, a young squad. There's no reason why they can't go out away in the Big Ten and win these road games. Might see a card here. That was a robust challenge.
The robust challenge on Minotillo.
That was Minotillo with the studs high. So a yellow card, the Penn State number 10.
Just like 2 years ago at our place, you didn't come.
The coaches jockey back and forth. Segbers gets to it first, but it conveniently drops down for Drew Klingenberg. There's Wadid making himself available. Maloney will soften things down in the midfield for Mason Clerks. Savino, kind of a wasted pass as Minotillo was unable to connect onto it.
Well, I thought it was a perfect ball though. Excellent idea from Brandon Savino, good vision. And it was just a lack of communication really up top between Minotillo and Mark Wadid. Look at this, perfect ball. That's exactly the type of ball you want to give a striker. Ball to feet. The strikers were nice and compact, nice and close to each other to develop the play. And in the end, like I said, just that lack of communication between the two that allowed the ball go astray.
Minotillo combining with Savino. Under 10 to go. A match that Penn State is expected to win on their home field, despite their 3-match slide, trying to extinguish that. As Connor Maloney turns away from Segbers, but recaptured quickly by Wisconsin. The quick feed of Brian Hale creates some room. Segbers' pass is gobbled right back up by Penn State. It's Savino.
When games are finally poised like this one, it comes down to two things. Class at key moments, the ability to be composed, pick out the right pass or finish, and the desire to win. To get over the line, to have enough grit and determination.
Launched in by James, and it's blasted wide by Mark Wadid. He had the match on his boot right there.
Mere inches away from the winner. We talked about what a goal would do for the confidence of Mark Wadid. He strikes this beautifully. Puts his foot all the way through the ball, and that's not far away at all.
Almost defined himself there by ending a drought and providing the game-winning goal. See how many more chances to come here in regulation.
Isn't the Big Ten tournament going to be fantastic? The addition of Maryland and Rutgers this year, two very good sides. You've seen the turnaround in the likes of Ohio State. Both these sides with exciting programs. It really is difficult to predict.
Coverage begins November 14th for that Big Ten tournament. Brian James trying to create going forward there with Mikey Minotillo. Some concerned Penn State fans looking on. They had the 1-0 advantage in the opening half. Looked like they might get 2 or 3 and cruise to an easy victory, but the young Badgers woke up. Wadid with the pace. Couldn't save it after that heavy touch. The energy has slowed a little bit here. It's been a fatiguing match, back and forth all afternoon. Kazmierczyk's pass takes a deflection, but it will stay with the Badgers.
For Wisconsin, they've got 2 tough games as well. After this one, they host Indiana, a team that they beat last season in Madison. What an atmosphere that game was.
Penn State almost escapes the high press. Now it's Catalano and the Badgers off the turnover in the midfield. Tommy Barlow will send it out wide. Drifted into the penalty area again. Popped up by Joe Naughton, but controlled by that poised back line for Penn State. And then a calm touch there by Mark Wadid to get a little separation and room on this Penn State attack. This is Brian James. Keeps it on the grass for Minotillo. Brushed ahead. Brandon Savino eyes his options. Takes it to the left foot. Savino, not a bad idea. So we look at the second half, chances now mounting up for Penn State.
Yeah, the first falling to Minotillo. McDonald gets the ball across, and I think he's got to put his whole body through that one. Maloney's go from distance. That's a good save. And then late on, this chance falls to Wadid at the far post. It's a good strike, not too far away. The Nittany Lions, the home side, they've had their chances.
Shots resemble that here in the second. Now they need to get him on frame. So that searching ball. Nearby was Mark Wadid. It's Brian James makes the turn on Connor. Connor, he's been a pest all afternoon, number 7 in Wisconsin. The battle there from Maloney down to the ground. Draw some contact. Dangerous free kick upcoming.
I'm thinking back to that challenge a little bit earlier when it was Maloney that got booked for a tackle on Catalano, and it looked like Catalano was getting his little bit of revenge there. Maybe kicking out slightly on Maloney, those two having words.
Brian James will give it a hit. Under 4 to go. Do we have a game-winning goal on the deck? Taking the deflection in front. Oh, it's Dennis with the chance for the game-winning goal as he was set up by Minotillo.
Is that the chance? Is that the one for Penn State? The final chance of the game. It was a poor delivery blocked by the wall, but Minotillo does so well to dig out the cross. And the former striker, turned defender, Eli Dennis. Massive chance to win the match late on. Showing his striker instincts, Eli Dennis. Bringing back that poacher term, Dan Kelly. The poacher inside the area. Oh, what a way that would have been for Dennis to win on senior day.
It's Minotillo out of nowhere created that chance. The former striker, now defender, just couldn't find the finish. Under 3 minutes to go. It's been a brilliant afternoon of soccer on the Big Ten Network. Started with an Indiana win over Michigan. Not much separation between these two teams so far, Penn State and Wisconsin, with overtime looming. Barlow. Catalano, the freshman. Brian Hale, forced a little bit by Klingenberg. Good shielding there by Hale. And with that fight, you knew he was going to draw a call as he just kept going.
And you could hear Bob Warming and the coaches on the Penn State bench saying, don't foul, don't foul, there's no need to foul here. The reality is Brian Hale is looking for a foul. He's looking to draw the free kick. And now with a minute and 40 seconds to go, this is a big time chance to swing one in on top of the goalkeeper and commit some of the bigger players forward.
Drew Connor will launch it in. Some contact there. And it ends up being a harmless free kick here in the final 2 minutes.
We'll see this one more time just to see who exactly it was.
Hey, can we get it from where the foul was?
I mean, hands on the back, but I often think it's the easiest option for a referee late in the game. Avoid controversy and opt for a free kick to the defensive team for any contact whatsoever. I think if that amount of contact happens anywhere else on the pitch, it's not going to be a free.
Segber's trying to spring Barlow. 50 seconds to go. 2 potential 10-minute overtimes upcoming. Barlow, the little jab there, gave possession to Wisconsin for just a second. Maybe the last roam forward here in regulation for Brian James in the Nittany Lions. Long 50-50 ball.
Now where's the ball boy when you need him? There he is.
Doing his job. Klingenberg doesn't want to waste any time. 15 seconds to go. Puts it up into the breeze. Dennis has it. Dennis another lash at it. Safely away by Wisconsin. Next stop on the Penn State campus. A little overtime soccer as nothing settled during the first 90 minutes. Brilliant theater so far.
Superb. Both coaches are winners. John Trask having a quick thought to himself, reflecting on what was and what's about to be. I think it's a must-win game for both these programs. Penn State certainly need to go out and try and win this game. And they're at home. They have to set the agenda. And for Wisconsin, they need to believe that they can win this game. They have the talent. And at times, they have Penn State on the back foot.
Yeah, Penn State, pressure on. Top of the table, tied with Ohio State. They're expected to win this match. It looked like Eli Dennis was going to have the winning lash, just missing that bid. Overtime soccer on the way back on BTN. It's been a long, fun journey this Sunday afternoon from University Park, Pennsylvania. Ready to start overtime, but first things first, let's look back at this epic match for a regular season tilt. A lot of excitement. Connor Maloney, the orchestrator, on the opening goal.
A lot of excitement and a lot of class. Beautiful first touch. Drew Klingenberg with the cracker of a goal to open the scoring.
Look at that class once again. Look at this finish. How quick. No messing around.
It was a beautiful assist. Third assist of the season. He can't just be the goal scorer. He can assist as well. And Segbers, for me, he does so well here, just to lift ahead and know exactly under pressure where his teammate is. Picked out Joe Nocton, and he does the rest, albeit with a very lucky deflection. But Wisconsin deserved to get back into this game. To the second half we go. Chances for both teams. This one falls to Minutio. I think he's got to put his body through it. This one for Connor Maloney from distance. He can strike it better, but he still troubled the goalkeeper. And then could Mark Wadid get that goal? Just wide, and this last chance late on in the game. Could the senior, on his big day, be the hero? Inches wide from Eli Dennis.
Great work from Minutio, almost finished by Eli Dennis. John Trask talking to his Wisconsin Badgers. If you're Coach Trask trying to pull off the upset, we look at the overtime rules in college soccer. We could get out of here in a hurry. Golden goal, 2 10-minute sudden victory overtime periods. If still tied after 2, the match will end in a draw. You look at the Big Ten Conference standing so tight at the top. You can see why the result is massive today from Penn State's perspective.
It really is, and when I think overtime, I do think of Northwestern, and look at that. They have 3 draws this season, as do Michigan, from double overtime games. And remember, the one victory that the Wildcats had is a lesson for both these teams here today. And that is, 1, you can score nice and early, and 2, never give up on a play. It was Joey Calistri. Joey Calistri simply went after that ball against Maryland. Did it go over the line? Certainly Sasho Swarovski felt it did. Nobody will know. That's the truth of it. Without a Hawkeye system, nobody can tell. But the lesson is you never ever give up until you hear that whistle. Never give up on a play. And try and get after this goal nice and early. Shock the opposition.
So round and round we go. Now off in overtime. The Penn State campus Nittany Lions, if you're just joining us, of course, in blue and white. Savino hoisting it in. Minutio. Brian James was trying to side foot it to a teammate, but instead it's back for Mason Clarks in the midfield. So Penn State just across the face of goal. Minutio was there. It's the wind at the back of the Badgers here in extra soccer.
And Dan, in many ways, you know, this is a season-defining overtime period now for Penn State. Don't forget, the winning team in the Big Ten regular season will host the Big Ten tournament. So what an advantage that would be for the Nittany Lions if they could hold on and win the Big Ten regular season outright, to bring all the other teams to play in Penn State. And the Big Ten network will cover it.
Mark, pull yourself out wide.
Of course, it promises to be an epic tournament.
Handled there by Barlow. Especially when you were poised and positioned to win that #1 spot. You don't want it to roll away, because for a while it looked like the Nittany Lions had the capability of running the table until they've hit this 3-match rough patch. Heard the message moments ago from Bob Warming to Mark Wadid. Get wide, number 9. Now it's Wisconsin roaming forward. Little space. Kazmierczak. Savino softens his shot. Brandon Savino scurries down the near touch.
Get over here! Get over here, Mark! Get over here!
Segbers, good ball hunger there, going down for it, but commits the foul.
Again, maybe I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I just think there's 2 players going for a ball. Segbers goes in, tries to get the foot on the ball. I'm not so sure I see a foul on that one. It's much better from Mark Segbers in terms of pressing and trying to win the ball back.
But to be fair, they've called it pretty consistent this afternoon.
Yeah, I would agree.
Connor Maloney.
Right idea from Maloney. Beautiful little slip pass.
He was trying to slip it to Minutio. Mikey probing forward. Just a little shoulder to let the Badgers know that he's still there and he's going to be there the rest of the match.
You look at Penn State's schedule and what they've done so far this season. Big time wins against the likes of St. John's, against Indiana. Good win against a tough Ohio State team, at Michigan.
Did you see it? And you thought the same call? You thought the same call?
A dismayed Bob Warming talking to our official, trying to get in their ears and their minds. Maybe it's just one free kick. One play as it looked to be handled there. It was by Klingenberg.
Well, these are the moments, and these are the games that you make a name for yourself. You're remembered for big-time goals in key moments in games. And you look back over the course of the Big Ten, over the years, you remember big-time goals that we've seen on the Big Ten network. Remember,
look at Segbers, the effort to get to that ball, looking for the game winner, and shut down by Andrew Wolverton. Just a desire he wouldn't be denied there.
well, there's that pace that John Trask talks about, saying Segbers, he always has that extra gear when you least expect it. And watch this, off to the races, turns on the jets, takes a strike, and Wolverton needed to be very aware of that one.
That's how the kid can bait people. They don't expect it. And then that separating touch and run, and he has a chance. It leads to a corner. Drew Connor off the roof of the goal. Safely watched by Andrew Wolverton.
That's disappointing. This stage of the game from Drew Connor. He's a very talented player. He's better than that. Needs to be able to judge the wind and trouble Penn State at the back.
Just a reminder, if things remain level after the first 10, one more 10-minute overtime remaining. If nothing's settled, then it will end in a draw. With Kevin Egan, I'm Dan Kelly, our BTN crew. Great Sunday of soccer. It started with the win from Indiana over Michigan. All of a sudden, the Hoosiers are hot. These young Wisconsin Badgers, they've been more than a handful to deal with for Penn State.
Well, the season has really ebbed and flowed for every team. You look at Maryland, didn't start well at all, and now they're looking like the Maryland team that we know. Indiana got the loss last week. They bounced back. Ohio State has come strong. The parity involved in the Big Ten, we always speak of it, but it's extremely strong. And it can make analysts look like fools sometimes.
Another robust challenge leads to a booking.
Yeah, Clerks. That's a good decision from the referee. Not only was he late, but the studs came in on the foot. Here's a chance. I mean, with this type of a breeze, the way the soccer ball is nowadays, it's so light that the ball dips at pace. If you can get this to dip right in front of Andrew Wolverton, it's going to cause him problems.
Never a chance. There off the foot of the freshman Catalano.
Yeah, Mike Catalano won't want to see that one again. It was always an audacious attempt to give it a go from there, but like I said before, he had the crack. I mean, you have to try and keep that one low, knowing that the wind is going to take it up and carry it away. As we saw, you have to try and test Wolverton.
Wadid looking to slip loose. Maybe a little too much freshman excitement behind that free kick ball from Catalano as Penn State's Mason Clerks keeps it on the deck. McDonald will play it out wide. Strolling into the midfield is Klingenberg. A lot of off-ball movement here on the build-up from Penn State. Careening his way forward is Kyle McDonald. Sends it into the penalty area. Sprouting up there was Savino. Connor Maloney, and you see that ball just get caught up in the wind. Safely cleared by the Badgers.
Yeah, good defending from Wisconsin. In this sort of an instance, just get it clear. Don't worry about where it goes. When you're under pressure and the ball is all over the place with the wind, just clear your lines.
Maybe Penn State is going to fancy their chance in the second overtime when they'll have the wind at their backs, but still going forward here against it. McDonald, Minatillo. Minatillo trying to make the turn. It's McDonald. Helping earn a corner. Time ticking down in the first overtime segment. Mark Wadid will do the honors.
Minatio had a runner on the left-hand side coming clean through and didn't give it. Thought it was a good opening for Penn State.
Blasted in by Wadid, and the shot off the head of Mason Clerks, diving to make the save. A sophomore, Casey Byers.
It's a good stop, a relatively straightforward stop for Casey Byers from Clerk's header. But look, that's why you keep a guy on the line. Look at Kuban. If the ball goes over the far side, there's nobody on the goal line, and that's in the back of the net.
Badgers and Barlow going forward here in the opening overtime, looking for a late lash, and there off the left foot of Kazmierczak over the bar, and a little frustrated with that late chance.
Yeah, Penn State from the throw, just taking a little snooze. Obviously, you cannot be offside from a throw in, and Barlow receives the ball, does very well to play it back outside. Kazmierczak could not keep the ball down. Just seemed to be leaning back as he was striking. The ball was always going to go over.
Just look at that goal kick. It stays up in the wind for a little extra longer on a blustery day like this afternoon. 10 minutes done. 10 minutes of overtime soccer left. Bob Warming and Penn State, they'll now have the advantage of having the wind at their backs.
You know, it's like you look around other sports, it's like a team defending when the other team is on a power play in hockey. You need to get through that period where, like Penn State just did, they survived the elements, and now they go into this second overtime period with that advantage. And I think it is a plus for Bob Warming and the Nittany Lions.
So they'll see if they can utilize the power play, aided by the wind. Just a brief break. We'll have more overtime soccer on BTN when we come back. Nothing settled. Mark Wadid has had a few chances. Don't you get the feeling, partner, that I don't know who, but we're going to see a game-winning goal, a golden goal here in the second segment of overtime?
I think you're right. I think there is that sense around the ground that, you know, there is a goal within one of these two teams. Right now, the odds are heavily stacked in favor of Andrew Wolverton and his Penn State team, given they have that big breeze. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is crucial. This is a big-time moment in their season. They've got tough games away at Northwestern and hosting Akron. And similar for Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin don't have it all easy either. They also have to travel to Northwestern, but then host Indiana as well. And you want to hit the Big Ten tournament in flying form. You don't want to back into it off the back of several losses.
So this is your time. The message perhaps from Bob Warming. You're facing a team with a combined 7 underclassmen in the starting 11. You're at the top of the standings. You get a result. You could be there by yourself. You're expected to win. Now use that veteran experience to your side on your home field and go for it.
Yeah, for the likes of Andrew Wolverton, Eli Dennis, Mike Robinson, you know, Mikey Minatio.
So here's Connor Maloney, able to stay on his feet, makes the turn, left foot, and ends up being an easy claim for Casey Byers.
Excellent pass. Maloney off to the races. Does so well, just tucks inside onto that right foot of his, and then swings back out onto the left. Drags the defender all over the shop, and a decent effort.
There you see Connor Maloney using that 5'6" frame and his low center of gravity, swerving there on the dribble, and they couldn't knock him off balance.
My point was, Dan, about the seniors, and there's Robinson. The seniors in this Penn State team, this could be the last Big Ten regular season game they'll play at home. I mean, it's crucial that they go out in flying fashion and try and do everything in their power to win this game today. It's a special day, senior day today. And it goes beyond, the emotion involved goes beyond simply 3 points.
Not out yet.
It's Mason Clerks, Minatio. It's Minotillo wanted the foul as felt his arm pulled a little bit there. A calm possession in the midfield. Brian James brushed ahead by Gonzalez.
Great couple of touches there from Mark Wadid. Take it down with ease and find a teammate.
This is Drew Klingenberg. So dangerous in the opening half from that right side. They're denied access. The ball will cooperate and stay in. Clever little pass. James Klingenberg plays it square. The Badgers were ready for it. Possession still dominated here by Penn State. Robinson, the senior, sends it in. Offside flag coming back. We look at that Brian James pass moments ago.
It's a lovely bit of interplay between James and Klingenberg. Class vision from James to the onrushing winger, and that's not a bad ball in at all. The joy for Penn State in this game has come through the flank players, Klingenberg and Maloney.
Here comes James. Feels the company coming over his shoulder. Little room for Klingenberg. Marches forward. Drew Klingenberg plays it across the face of goal, and the game-winning goal there was right there on the boot for Maloney.
We talk about the experience in the Penn State side. Well, it's inexperience in Wisconsin, but they've got one senior in their team, and that's David Kuban. And watch David Kuban's positioning on this play. He does so well to come across and track Maloney. Watch how he steps out at the key time here.
Now a dangerous ball sent in again. Picking up the scraps. Who wants it? Penn State does, says Mike Robinson. Pushes wide. Wadid will go for a little run. Wadid takes it end line. Almost an own goal there off of a Badger and quickly cleared.
Well, we're seeing the power and the pace that we've talked about with Mark Wadid. He's got everything in his locker. But before that, I was just touching on the defending. The defending from David Kuban was absolutely marvelous. Just the smell, that sense of danger in the area, to be able to quickly anticipate the run of Maloney and get out and block his shot. That's a match-saving tackle from Kuban.
It was Drew Connor who avoided the own goal in the penalty area. A delicate ball to deal with. Room for Gonzalez. Can Penn State get the overtime game winner? Takes a deflection, and the answer is yes. Gonzalez and the Nittany Lions win it. First career goal, he picks a swell time. Michael Gonzalez, the man who was victimized by a deflection in the opening half, he gets revenge, and it's celebration here in Happy Valley.
Gonzalez, the junior, supplying the magical moment for all the seniors on show today. Just hits one from distance, a speculative effort, takes a wicked deflection, and that's very unlucky for Wisconsin and Casey Byers, who's been superb today in goal. The deflection does everything for this goal. But you know what? If you're not in, you can't win. And Penn State had the ambition in that second overtime period to go after the game. And when Wisconsin sat off again, that invited Gonzalez to let rip from distance. He accepted the invitation in style. Yes, it took a deflection. But congratulations to Penn State. Not only have they snapped their 3-game losing streak, but back to winning ways toward the end of this regular season.
The guy joining us now is a little happier than he was at halftime. Coach Bob Warming. And Bob, it's kind of justice. Michael Gonzalez had the unlucky deflection that led to a Badger goal earlier in the game, and here he becomes the hero with his first ever collegiate goal.
Well, I'm so happy for Michael, so happy for the team. Michael was having a good summer and had a terrible leg injury in the summer and has worked very hard to get back at his fitness, and now he had a chance to come in and play for us, and that was an incredible strike.
Coach, congratulations. I said during the game that 3 points in a match like this, it goes beyond the 3 points. It's all about emotion, given that it's senior day. Just give us a sense of how proud you are of your seniors today.
Well, they've made me a better coach. Kevin. Every one of those guys has taught me something. about the game, about themselves, about life that's been important to me. And I just hope to stay in touch with those guys for another 40 years because they've been a remarkable group who've won 2 consecutive Big Ten championships for the first time in school history, and we're going to try to win a 3rd.
Big win today, Bob, but preceded this was a 3-game losing streak. You learned from losing too. What did you learn from that rough patch that you brought into today's match?
Well, you know, I learned a lot of things, and I think our guys learned a lot of things. That we had a pretty good talk, I think, after the last loss, and we called everybody away. No trainers, no anybody else, and nobody there except just us. And it was about, you know, the solution is right here. It's within us, and they did it. They're coming back.
Yes, sir. The solution was certainly there. Great performance, great theater, and good luck the rest of the way, Coach Warming.
Thanks. Hey, we love Senior Day. It's 2 years in a row, double overtime victories. So it's pretty fun. We'll have Senior Day every day.
A superb Senior Day, yes, indeed, Coach Warming, as they celebrate in style with their home fans. What a day for the soccer program. It started off with the women wrapping up the regular season title, and the game winner goal in overtime seals the deal this afternoon. A little lucky from the redshirt junior Michael Gonzalez, but he'll take it.
Golazo from Gonzalez. What a strike from distance. Wicked deflection, but the junior had it within him and said, you know what? I've got the breeze at my back. I've got the right boot. I'm going to have a go.
And what a senior day it is. It's Gonzalez. He's faced adversity. So has this Penn State team. As we heard Coach Warming say, the solution is just ourselves. That players only meeting. They found the solution here just in the nick of time. They fought through adverse conditions this afternoon from a Badger team that just wouldn't go away. The final from Happy Valley. Penn State defeats the Badgers 2-1.